second round, we'll be able to pick out 2. First ban comes out for Trifecta. Ogyrus, no thank you.
And I mean, for good reason. And again, we're seeing the Serket and the Osiris being taken away. So that's going to be 3 games in a row, actually, where these 2 picks in particular are not going to be permitted through. And Trifecta, third time's the charm. Hercules is a no-go.
Yeah, absolutely not. I thought maybe there'd be a chance that we'd see them actually play it, but not going to be the case. Either way, as long as it's off the table, I think Trifecta and their fans can be a little bit happy. Serket banned out by eUnited first time around. We'll see what they want this time.
Wouldn't hold your breath, though, because if there's one thing that eUnited is feeling right now, it is themselves. You can just tell by just being in the studios right now. I mean, PBM has been going at it with the trash talk every now and then whenever they get the kills. I mean, the only person that died from eUnited was Salt Machine. The first thing that PBM says, we don't care about Salt anyway.
Yeah. Salt Machine being Benji, of course. But this eUnited team, you know, it's interesting. I say this eUnited team, but every eUnited team has seemed to excel at LAN. Formerly captained by Pain to Beyond, we've seen some of these same guys come through and just wreck. And I mean, you know, we keep bringing up the fact that Scream tends to die a little bit more at LAN, but I think that's because he plays a little bit more aggressive at LAN. And for eUnited, I mean, they kind of want that aggressive play. And as I highlighted before, I think he's taken a step back. I think Polar Bear Mike has been able to reel him in just a little bit.
And it's certainly making an impact for his gameplay, at least amongst the rest of his team. He looks so much more coordinated with eUnited as well. This team in general has just made leaps and bounds when it comes to being one of those top-tier considered teams in North America. And if anything, this is probably the cleanest gameplay I could have ever expected from eUnited. It's actually surpassed what I was looking for them to bring out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy and said, you know what, I kind of expected it. eUnited, I think when they wound up at the top during the regular season, I kind of said it's about damn time. This is a team that has been kind of sitting on the sidelines, waiting for their opportunity. And LG looks like the crowd favorite and the numero uno in North America. And eUnited goes, but wait, we exist. Don't forget about us. And they have just looked phenomenal. They came in with full steam throughout the regular season. I don't see any reason why this train needs to stop in the postseason. 2 games already above their opposition in a best of 5.
Well, for eUnited, they're going to have to try and deal with that Raijin now. Trifecta taking a page out of eUnited's book, or more especially, it just allowing Hurrywin to finally have some of that early game clear that Aggro actually briefly touched on before they toss it over to us. And it's just, Hurrywin really is a very strong player when it comes to mechanics, and allowing him to have a god like Raijin where he's not going to have to be as concerned for losing his mid lane phase so hard, that's going to make things significantly easier.
Sure. I mean, the short of it is Herwin's just mad good, full stop, right? Like, he's just one of those players that have really earned his stripes. I like the fact that he's multifaceted and can play the Aphrodite and can play a bunch of stuff. But, yeah, I'm with you and Ryan. Just give him something that he can bash people with. Raijin going to be the case. Hou-Yi not banned this time around. Banned in game 1 and game number 2. That'll be the hunter of choice for Snoopy. Watch out for the triple bounce. And then, of course, Ganesh, and always strong support player.
Everything is looking to be swapped around on Trifecta. I mean, the Raijin, the Hou-Yi, Ganesh, 3 gods that prosper in the early game stages. This time around, it's evident that Trifecta want to make sure there isn't a losing lane.
Well, it's never, for me, picks and bans is very rarely, if ever, about, all right, we have 5 god picks and let's talk about it, right? You and I, being analysts here, it's always about the bigger picture. It's about a strategy composition, right? All-in comms, pick comms, late game comms, early game comms, right? Last time, we saw game 1 and game 2, we saw 2 tanks, an Afro, and 2 carries, right? That was the approach. And it didn't work. So Trifecta, it's not about the Afro, it's not about the Ymir. So it's about the fact that the 2 tanks, Afro, 2 carries don't work. So where do they go? A little bit more traditional. Regular mid, regular hunter, regular support. We'll see what they have left to pick.
I mean, normally every single team tries to look for gods that are going to be able to sync up with each other. You have the Hou-Yi ultimate combined with those Dharmic pillars. So Sun's collapsing on top of you and the Dharmic providing a slow. It's a lot of control already. A lot more crowd control, at least from Trifecta, which is clearly their mark this time. Loving the Nemesis ban out. seems a little bit odd, but with that Morgan being a selection, eUnited can have double the trouble, and Trifecta are really not looking for any sort of opening or allowing any sort of opening for eUnited to really have those double all-in dive compositions.
Yeah, just a little bit too scary. Like we said earlier, whenever you're picking the Morgan, as Robin is banned out, the enemy across the way has to start thinking about, how can they apply this to my team, right? Raijin, Houyi, and Ganesh, those are pretty scary choices.
Hunbots, though, is still on the table. Scream's got a pretty nasty Hunbots as well.
Uh-oh.
So there's a little bit of deliberation between United right now. I think
the oops.
They might be thinking about it, but
that's the oops. That's the oops. If eUnited pick up a Hunbats, Trifecta is going to kick themselves and say, Robin's tough to deal with, but maybe we should have banned the Hunbats. Right now, though, it's Xing Qian's time in the sun. This god comes and goes, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's pretty strong.
And there's still potential for a Thor to also be picked up by Scream. He also really likes his Thor gameplay. And every now and then you see that odd pickup of the Bastet. I don't really anticipate seeing a Bastet here, though, coming out of Scream's God Pool, just because there isn't really much need for it.
I think Bastet is just a straight-up assassin. I don't really mind Bastet into virtually any composition. I do prefer Bastet against characters that excel at getting away, whether it be gods like Freya that go in the sky or gods like Giannis that walk through walls. So I like the dots on characters like that, especially in the world with Izanamis. But here for Trifecta, sure. There's nothing necessarily I want to pick Bastet into, but in 2017, this world, I don't think you need a comp, really, specifically for Bastet. I think you just pick her because you like her.
And with the Chalk also being sealed away, that's certainly going to be a guy that Kiki isn't going to have to worry about letting his buffs get super invaded on.
All right, can we talk Chalk real quick?
What about him?
Aggro's famous line, and like memes aside, everybody, haha, Tom likes Chalk. Real talk, I have never, and this is what Ryan says, I've never looked at a draft and said, Chalk's what I want here. Why does Trifecta go for Chalk? Is it really just the fact that they want to give Kiki some power, some pressure?
Chalk just prevents you from falling victim to that 2v1 and solo lane that we can see a lot of teams going for most of the time, where they want to just apply a ton of pressure onto the Chalk, make sure that he can't secure his own buffs, he can't clear out his own lane, but Chalk just negates all of that. He's just going to survive. I mean, I think the best way to look at it is just take a gander over at Aquarius on LG, for example.
Sure.
So many times he's run that Chalk against high pressure 2v1 jungle solo combinations on the enemy team, and that's because you can just sustain throughout. I don't want to call it cheese, because I don't really think that cheese is an actual thing. I think
agree.
that if a strategy works, that's just competitive gameplay to a T, but if anything, it just prevents you from falling super behind, and you shouldn't ever really be behind on Chalk, at least not in the laning phase.
No, I agree, and this is problematic to me because Trifecta game 1 and game 2. So Trifecta game number 1, they pick a Protect Naja comp that only works if you're ahead. They didn't get ahead. Game number 2, they pick Protect Izanami and Rat comp. Guess what? The Afro's not going to work from behind either. They didn't get ahead. Game number 3, they have a Chalk. This, again, they need to get ahead. How are you feeling about game 3?
I feel as though it's a much better draft for Trifecta and something different, but eUnited might be riding on just a little bit too much momentum. I think we're looking at a possible 3-0 here.
Full steam ahead. If you want my money, I say this is where we stop. However, Aggro and Graham, they're conductors.
Thanks so much for that, boys. And now, well, girls and boys, I should say. Now we're going to go straight into game for this one. And you're saying they did it because we were like, there's a lot of variables of who's going where in this game, and the variables are showing their force. Chalk Jungle, Nike Jungle.
They did it. Chalk Jungle. Sam for Soccer's performance. That pick kind of got like memed at how bad the Chalk Jungle was. I just don't. As Tom said, my quote that I use quite a bit is, I've never looked at a draft and said Chalk is the best pick here, except if your name is Aquarius. That's like the only time I accept it. Chalk in the jungle for me, if you need a warrior that's going to do decent damage in the early game and just be a general annoyance, Arlong Shen, far better in the jungle in my mind. I just don't think that Chalk in the jungle brings enough to warrant the pick.
Aurora and Hurricane looking to clear the wave before they take on the fight. Venenu and Panda Cat already cleared the wave pretty much for those two. And Hurricane eats a bit of poke early on. Right-hand side, you saw the Trifecta got lane pressure before going into the jungle. eUnited took their speed buff. Snoopy starts and gets hold of his own red buff in the jungle, using the power of a Ho Yi in the early game. But it does mean that the pressure for Polar Bear Mike on that first wave is already in his favor.
And Kiki playing the Athena in the solo lane. Look, Kiki's Athena solo whenever he moved back into solo to join this team and to play in Oxygen Supremacy, this was a pick for them that really worked out very well. And he's very comfortable on this god, and I really like watching him play it. However, this again is one of those situations where you're giving Benji pressure again for free in this lane. That's been the problem for Trifecta so far in this set. It isn't just Hercules, it's that Benji's huge.
Benji could be in trouble along with his teammate there. Screamer has to leap away. The collapse could be on Scream here. Sinosure, Aurora, Horriman, and Kiki all giving chase, but it's sprints for sprints, and it's Benji was the one out of position, but the driving strike, the lack of it, I should say, didn't save him there. And Kiki gets first blood onto Benji. Trifecta with the first kill of game 3.
And Trifecta goes, yes, we did it. We killed him before he got too big. Now Snoopy makes the rotation and hits the triple ricochet in the mid lane. Ven's got to try and run away, but he's so low already.
And the drums from Horriman will pick up the kill. Snoopy did the donkey work, but Horriman will thank for the kill there as well. 2-0 Trifecta at the start of this one.
Sometimes when you're down 2-0 and just got dominated in 2.5 straight games, you just need to roll the dice and get a little lucky. And I'm not saying Snoopy didn't line it up. I'm not saying Snoopy doesn't understand the bounces in the mid lane. All I'm saying is if I had Snoopy try and do that 5 more times, don't know how many times he would hit it.
All 5. If you ask Snoopy.
If you ask Snoopy.
If you ask a fan of Snoopy, all 5. If you ask Twitch chat, no.
No. I don't ask Twitch chat anything, though. I've learned my lesson there.
That's good advice. Good advice. So this is important for Trifecta. We already mentioned that they are down 2 games. We all know that down 2 games, they need to win 3 in a row, and this is the sort of start that you really need under your belt to get yourself going. Killing Benji early on gives some pressure to Kiki on that Athena early on, which is kind of important. A Guardian, once again, early game isn't the strongest at wave clear.
Also, you got to give a lot of credit to Snoopy to use those purification beads preemptively to make sure that Ven doesn't hit that stun there. And you also got the purification beads out from Venenu, I believe, in that mid lane. No, he actually decided to hold them. So he does have at least some safety moving forward before he gets level 5 and is really going to be looking, in my mind, I mean, anytime you draft a Morgan, you're looking at your best transformation targets. In this game for Venenu, I'm looking at Nike as one of his best transformation targets to give himself a quick burst of health via the health shield off that ultimate. I'm looking at transforming into Xing Chen to pull people who had already used their purification beads off that first iteration of the Xing Chen ult. Outside of that, there aren't a lot of great options. I mean, he could transform into Athena in order to use that global ultimate to get to a fight very quickly. That will end up being helpful potentially. But overall, not as great of target selection for transformations as he had in game 1 when he was playing this.
We generally do see a lot of Ho Yi transformations out of Morrigan's as time goes on too, though. Just because the Sun's in a team fight, it can be useful.
Yes.
And then it's not necessarily the ricochet, but the escape is pretty solid too, with the leap that can technically get you over walls in the right position. We'll see how this one plays out for Venenu in the mid lane, who did drop down just that once so far. Horriwind started off with the Soul Trap Rush early on, but didn't invest into the full Book of Toth. Instead, looking for the mobility from those boots.
Really just starting off with the Soul Trap because it gives you that big burst of 60 power, and that's as much as you can get from a tier 2 item right away, at least with a viable start in the mid lane. So just using it to kind of carry you through the early game with power and then finishing it off once you finish off your mobility with the boots.
Talking about early game carrying you through it, well, that was the issue. The Trifecta's had 2 games in a row. Low pressure early on. Game 3, clearly this draft is all about how much pressure can we get on the map at the same time. The only real lane that you'd expect to not be high pressure would be Kiki's in the solo lane, but with a Chak and a Hurriwind and Snoopy, like those 3 characters alone, their pressure is solid enough, and this is what we were hoping for after the trials and tribulations of game 1 and 2.
And remember, Kiki got first blood on that right-hand side with the help of 3 of his teammates, but it was able to get that first blood onto Benji, so now Benji doesn't have that opportunity to just push Kiki down underneath the tower all day long. Now Kiki's able to step up and really try and clear quickly with that Cullen.
I think under a bit of pressure here, but there's a little bit of a lack of CC from Benji and Scream for my liking to really be able to shut down an Athena before she can get the dash off. Still looking to pressure though under the tower, and here's the problem. It's going to take a 3-man dive. The good news is Jing Ten's there to the rescue. Will he get away? He will, just in time. Blue buff still alive, but Sino Showdown looking at Benji, who overcommitted with his team looking for that kill.
Kiki still on the run because Venenu's here. He's going to have to get away, but Polar Bear Mike with that 2-man pickup and throw. Heroin taking a ton of damage, and Scream's going to find the kill.
And the 1 kill for 1 so far, mid for solo laner. Sinoshaw battling 3 over that blue buff for the time being. Aurora trying to support the best he can. Scream, though, looking towards Aurora as the rest of eUnited look to take out Sinoshaw and do so. 3-2 in the standings. Take into account Trifecta already had 2 kills. eUnited win that fight.
Whirlwind was just focused down immediately upon entering those Taiko drums, and Scream just doing plenty of damage with that Nike jungle. For me, Sino sure just can't do a lot, and it's not his fault. I mean, Chalk just doesn't do a lot in team fights like that when he's even or, you know, a little bit behind of Scream now in XP, but he was even going into that. Chalk is a character that needs that extra bit of farm to really be that bully, to do that big chunk of damage with the axe throw, to stand in the middle of everything and use the rainstorm to heal up. When you're even, you don't really pose that much of a threat.
Kiki and Aurora a little bit too far forward on this right-hand side here, looking for those back harpies, running to Scream and Benji. Aurora should be okay for now, though. The rotation in from mid from Sinoshaw and Hurrywin will relieve that pressure after creating it there. I think for me, going back to that fight, though, Aggro, once they find that kill, once Kiki escapes and they find the kill, they should have disengaged. They look to defend the blue buff, and I think you can give up the blue, knowing that Kiki lived and you managed to kill Benji, and think that it's an okay trade without trying to defend anymore.
Right, but it's easy to see how Trifecta felt like that was still a fight that they should be able to win, as Kiki might be in trouble again. Benji uses the ultimate, finds the knockup. Kiki's on the run, does have the ultimate again this time, but has to use the sprint trying to get away. No full commit dive this time from eUnited. Don't want to lose Benji once more.
Now they are pressuring him out. Oh, Benji's diving. Oh, Benji dived, trying to stop the back out of Kiki there, but didn't manage to do so. Instead, he ate a couple of tower shots for it, but that seems to be the idea now. Push Athena out of lane. It's very tricky to kill her with a lack of CC. You can see Benji's the only real one out of those 2 of that Nike combination that has any pressure. Kiki's just come back and walks straight into Screamer. For a second, I thought, don't get beat down again just as you come back.
Right, using that ultimate just to get back to the fight, kind of as a pseudo-teleport. But teleport falling out of the meta in the solo lane, it really can work out well.
Watch the wrap around the corner coming out from Scream and Venenu there too. It's PBM, the one that's been the casualty of war here. The ultimate will not save him from Sinoshaw, who drops the axe in place. Hurrywin tries to return some damage to Scream, who's running back towards the mid lane, and will get away nicely with the speed buff, and Nike's extra passives will start to come into effect.
Venenu transforming just in case, and could decide to go in there, decides not to just in case, and wise decision from Venenu.
Oh no, do the passive stack? The passive from Nike, do they stack if you've got 2 on the team?
I would imagine it would.
I've never checked into that, but I just thought about it, but I'm like, hang on a second.
Yeah,
you
it
could
should.
get double the passive?
Double the movement speed, double the power, could work out that way.
Oh, someone's telling me in production it does not. Thank you for the clarity on that. Otherwise, that would have been crazy fun.
That would be nuts.
We should make that happen. I'll do it on patch notes today. Confirmed for patch notes later on. Let's just make it happen. I might as well.
Panicat tried to take the 2v1, actually missed the stinger, or else he would have found a 2v1 kill there in that duo lane.
Something's telling me that Panicat's been playing a lot of AMC and people haven't been keeping check on it. I think the rest of the world will be keeping note of this now, heading further on into, you know, future games potentially, at least whoever may face him in the finals if they get that far. Trifecta, though, are up in this game for the time being. About 1,000 gold separating these 2 teams. Trifecta with that lead based off the first blood more than anything else.
And this is a much better look so far for Trifecta, not only because they're up a little bit in gold, but because Benji is behind in this lane for the first time all day. I mean, this is the first time that he isn't the one pressuring out the buffs. It's Kiki able to secure his own. It's able to make sure that he can actually get up and clear the wave in this matchup. And Benji usually does have these games where he's really far ahead in the set, and then the enemy team starts to focus him, and he still likes to play as if he has that lead, still likes to play as if he can do whatever he wants, and can end up going a little bit too hard. Now, can the rest of eUnited kind of rein him in and make sure that he's going to be able to be that late game factor is the question.
Benji with Pestilence early on?
He's worried about the damage that Kiki's going to be doing to him, and Hurrywin. Remember, Hurrywin's been the one to do the majority of the damage on the rotations over to that solo lane in the early game. Plus, it's good against the healing from Sinosure on the Chalk. Good against the Devourer's Gauntlet Sustain for Snoopy as well. It's just a fairly cheap magical protection item that gives you plenty of HP, gives you good protection numbers, and the passive doesn't hurt.
And I think that's the key, because everyone will be looking at that like, it does anti-heal. Well, the last 2 games you didn't buy that, and there was people you needed to stop from healing, like, you know, the Aphrodite. Then this game, you're going to go a different route. Well, it is for the health and the magical resistance more than anything else, or the protection. Overall, speed buff taken for Trifecta there in their own jungle, just controlling that. Aurora appears in this left-hand side. Snoopy has a level lead at the moment over this AMC in the lane. And Aurora here for some support to soak some experience. He's actually got a bit of a lead himself over Polar Bear Mike Xing 10.
And this is actually a better look for Aurora as well. We focus so much on Kiki actually getting to be even in a game for once this set, but Aurora is as well.
They're looking for Panda Cat here with Aurora coming in. He didn't even notice or care about Polar Bear Mike and Veneno around the corner. Panda Cat's still alive though, gets taunted in by Kiki after the ultimate comes through from him. Polar Bear Mike's hung around a little bit too long for his own liking. Ricochet to save the day. Snoopy knew about that one too. Another kill for Trifecta.
I'll tell you what, are you allowed to have a calculator up there, a protractor, something to get your angles right for these ricochets, because Snoopy has been killing it so far. Panda Cat is dead. No chance for him to get away. Sino's going to get credit. Just cannot go in and try and check that Gold Fury.
Did force a reset for the Gold Fury for a second, which generates a little bit more health, allowing Benji and Veneno to turn up. Scream, though, nice and tanky, slows them all down. In comes Benji, too, looking for the big time ultimate, and will find it. Scream's trying to support the best he can, but he's very low on health. And Veneno with the ultimate as well, turning in towards Nike. But it's Benji that's caught out of position on his own, just trying to get away from Hurricane, who needs one more auto. And he won't be able to find it. Raiju does not do damage until you follow it up. Beads using Hurry, and Hurry's caught out of position now.
Hurwin's dead. Trifecta get the Gold Fury here, but Hurwin's going to fall, trying a little bit too hard to get that kill onto Benji. Even with that slight slow from the Raiju, whenever you throw it onto the enemy, it doesn't do damage, as you mentioned, until you pop it. Doesn't do that extra bit of slow until you pop it. A little bit too aggressive there from Trifecta's mid laner, but overall to get, what, 2-3 kills and a Gold Fury just for one member in Hurwind, certainly a worthwhile trade.
Okay, guys in chat, I think we've got a bit of a ball game in this one now, finally. Trifecta looking shades of what they look like at Valencia now, not the state that we saw them in these first 2 games, and a lot of that, we've mentioned, pressure.
And Benji there, again, if he's got the massive level lead, he hits a 4-man knockup, he kills everyone by himself. Instead, everyone gets out very low, and so does he at the end of the fight. But it all goes back to that early rotation from Trifecta, putting pressure there for Kiki, trying to relieve some of it that Benji has been applying.
And Snoopy managed to get hold of this whole Yi. Snoopy's made impacts in this game enough so far already,
yeah, I'll say,
that you can really feel it. And now keeping the pressure on Panda. I love what Panda does there. Tries to defend his high by keeping the pressure onto Snoopy himself. And Snoopy's in a bit of trouble. Has to be careful. Scream is coming around the corner. Over the wall comes Scream, and Snoopy's got no leap away. Will get slowed down, forcing Kiki to ult defensively. Sinosure around the corner with the axe though onto Panda Cat. And it's Panda now on the run.
But that's all Chalk does. The damage is there, and Panda Cat's able to get out. Now Scream is going to have to be a little bit concerned, but should have that jump available soon. Good relic usage there by Snoopy, and a great ult by Kiki.
This costs, though, Trifecta the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. Kiki defensively ult saves Snoopy, but it means the tier 1 tower will fall, closing that gold lead that Trifecta held after the Gold Fury in the state of the game so far.
Now Benji looking for the speed buff Invade, going to use the ultimate to try and secure it, and it does go down in favor of eUnited, I believe.
It looks so too. Polar Bear Mike going to get pinned in place though, but does manage to pick up Snoopy, who has to beads and leap away, but Benji was waiting, and the ground slam has put him in an awkward spot for PBM to pick up the kill. Sinosure, meanwhile, hang on, did Snoopy get, where did Snoopy died to Panda?
Snoopy's dead. Snoopy's dead to Benji. He was there on that right-hand side, and Benji was waiting for him perfectly with that transformation. Benji, even without a lead, is able to do so much for eUnited.
For a second, I was like, where did Horrywin die too? I was like, hang on a second. Panda's just free farming. Portal Demon started up by eUnited though. Turning this one round yet again with 2 kills means that this Portal Demon will bring it back to an even game once more. eUnited and the team fights is around 15 minutes. This is Suedo old energy. Around the 14 to 15 minute mark, they just turn up the gas pedal all of a sudden. It's feeling the same sort of way here.
And that's what you expect from these teams that are really, really solid. Even when you put them behind a little bit early on, they have the potential to make the comebacks in the later stages. And it reminds me of Energy, it reminds me of Obey, these teams that are willing to kind of take the lumps in the early game and understand that their composition is going to make it out on top in the later stages. I mean, look at the composition overall for eUnited. Yes, both teams have the Warrior jungles, and both are kind of early game oriented overall, but Nike's passive means that she transitions beautifully into the late game because she's going to be impacting everybody on eUnited in the later stages, whereas Chalk doesn't have that. He doesn't have that little boost of utility and extra power for the rest of the squad.
And then you've got Venenu, who's going to get his stealth longer and longer as the game goes on. Snoopy getting pressured here by PBM. He throws him straight towards Panda Cat, and Panda Cat and Polar Bear might combine him beautifully there for a kill. That'll result in a tier 1 tower here. Trifecta unable to get over to defend in time, unfortunately. And once again, eUnited in the driving seat.
Just using that those relic cooldowns to really abuse Snoopy's life
Kill
there.
high,
As soon as he
Kiki.
jumped up and over, he wasn't able to use the purification beads to get out of Polar Bear Mike's ultimate. That's just perfect aggression by eUnited, and I love the response from the rest of the team. Scream knows he doesn't need to be there in that gang to make sure it happens well. He just needs to be the zoner to make sure that no one else can go in and support Snoopy just in case, and this is good timing for a pick onto Snoopy because this allows eUnited to get some ward coverage over this Gold Fury that's about to respawn.
So Trifecta now just on defense once again. Kiki taunting mid lane on his own. I like the idea behind that.
Damage.
Not for pressure. Sorry, not for actual kill potential, but to see if he can burn the beads out of Venenu because he didn't know where anybody else on the map was. So there's always a chance you're like, oh, I'm going to beads this because maybe, you know, Raijin threw the wall to the rescue.
Exactly, and I mean, Kiki just put really good poke on Event, forced him back because of how much damage that Athena's already doing. A Mystical Mail, a Void Stone, good defense for both physical and magical damage, but also some good power between those two items, not only for himself, but for Whirlwind and Aurora on those magical characters as well.
They just look a little unpracticed, Trifecta. I don't know why it feels that way. It just does. It doesn't feel like they're all synergizing the way we've seen them synergize before.
To some degree, yes. For me, the drafts have been a little bit lackluster from them so far, and I know I've already harped on it a little bit, but until I'm proven otherwise, I just don't see the benefit of this Chalk jungle, really.
Really good silence out of Aurora there. Snoopy was in a bit more danger than he expected to be in there, especially from the up-down out of Polar Bear Mike. Left-down Harpies will go down. I think Sanasaur did manage to strip those ones away. Right one's going to go to Benji, however, on this Curculum, which seems to be his backup after Hercules. Obviously, Ground Slam.
Backup.
Ground Slam, Driving Strike, pretty much the same thing, apart from 1 roots and 1 stuns.
Pretty good. Both two pretty good hunters, and for a pretty good player for sure. He's already gotten that experience lead. Back Warriors. Yes, Warriors. Thank you. I got a little.
They
do the same
damage.
thing, right?
They may do damage like that. Venenu under damage from Sinosure though, but the ult is down from Sinosure as well. Venenu's still alive though, gets over the wall as Nike to the savior of himself, and now the turnaround is on. Sino's getting beat down by Panda Cat by the back of his head. Kiki could be the next one on the list, and we're looking at a roll, but the body blocks on Kiki are isolating him. The dash comes through. Venenu looking to steal a potential kill. In the end, he has to stun a Raw, and now it's Snoopy who has to ages away from the honey, but he's still in trouble too.
PBM look just focusing down Whirlwind because he knows Benji is going to get a double kill onto Snoopy there. 3 fall for Trifecta, and that all starts off beautifully because Venenu baits himself at the beginning of the engagement, uses both his relics to stay alive, but more importantly, that transformation into the Nike. Not many warriors give you as much survivability upon that Morgan transformation as Nike does between the leap, between the big health shield. It's one of the best options for the Morgan, so I love this synergistic pick between the jungle and mid for eUnited. Ven starts it off beautifully. Benji's in the thick of things, in the middle of everyone, trying to absorb all these cooldowns, and no one looks at Panda Cat at all. And that's the dream scenario for a hunter in any team fight, is that no one gets a chance to even think about hitting you with an ability because the rest of your front line is doing such a good job of pushing them back. And all Panda Cat's doing is firing off autos, using that stinger, whatever he needs to do, and getting free damage, racking it up.
Well, eUnited here. Obviously, they used to be known as Enemy, and Enemy been around, been to a couple of World Championships. This will be the 3rd for eUnited now, technically, from the change. But I will say, this is probably the best team out of Enemy and eUnited I've seen. Like, with how this is looking, they are shaping up to be the best team that has ever been formed under this umbrella of an organization. And they're looking so solid right now. They give the whole idea of like, this is why they are the #1 team in North America.
Without a doubt. And keep in mind that Enemy finished in 2nd place at Season 2 Worlds.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think this is the strongest, an iteration of this roster that we've seen.
Golf Fury, Portal Demon, I should say, about to go down for United as well. Sanashaw being zoned away on the Chak. And Scream not scared to put a bit of a beat down and force Whirlwind right back down the middle. Benji, meanwhile, making sure Kiki and Aurora can't do too much, but he might wrap towards Sinosure in the mid lane. Sinosure going aggressive on his own here. No real support. The drums came out from Hurrywind, but a bit too deep. He's getting pressured as Hurrywind under his tier 2 tower at the same time, and Hurrywind's one hit from death. Meanwhile, the rest of the team trying to deal with eUnited's backline.
Benji might get caught out here, has that transformation up soon as he takes some more damage. Good taunt there from Kiki, brings 2 members in, but it's Benji who's very healthy and Scream who still has that ultimate available. Gonna be tough to bring either one of those guys down.
Sinosure gonna sustain back up, Scream in a bit of trouble here. Taunt could be available, but the ult used by Scream defensively to give him the shield. Meanwhile, the Fire Giant is being done by 2 members of eUnited here. It's taken them a while, but everybody else is just buying time. In comes Trifecta.
But Sino and Kiki are both already low. Sino's already dead. Venenu is going to find him, and here comes Benji around the backside looking for Snoopy and Aurora. Aurora's the focus. Ven gets a double, and eUnited just goes right back to the objective.
Straight back towards the Fire Giant. Hurrywin back towards the mid lane. He may have to come over to the Fire Giant. Doesn't look like he's going to, though. They're going to surrender the Fire Giant to eUnited here. Trifecta got off to a great start, but once eUnited just put everything together, what was going on in this game, the team fights have all been their way.
And it's just been the team fights going better, and again, I know I'm harping on it, but Sino has been fairly invisible in this game, and it got decent damage, but none of it has been particularly relevant. It's been cleanup damage, and it's been poke damage that eUnited just kind of ignored. The focus on a Sinosure has only been whenever he presents himself as an easy target, and he's just the only one around to smack, because as soon as anyone else shows up for eUnited, or for Trifecta, I should say, eUnited has focused them down instead.
So if they're looking for pressure, and that's one of the reasons this Chak was really drafted, was for pressure, what other options could we have seen in this position for Trifecta in the jungle?
I still think that Erlong Shen is a good option as if you want a warrior jungler who can be a kind of a pseudo frontliner who also brings good pressure in the early game. I think that Camazotz was on the table here for Trifecta that can bring at least enough early pressure and early damage to kind of carry you through those early stages. I know the Naja was banned, and but that was in the second banning phase. For me, that's where this game, immediately during those picks and bans, I was very curious as to why Trifecta went for Ganesh in that third pick slot instead of the Naja. Ganesh is a very strong pick, and Aurora's played it well so far in this game, but Naja is the Sinosure character in my mind. It's Serket and Naja when I think of Sino and how well he can play the game. Plus, remember, Sino plays a decent amount of Thanatos as well. You want early pressure, Thanatos can bring that for you. Camazotz, as I mentioned, yeah. I mean, those are all on the table. I just don't think that there's not enough bans in the world to make me want to play Chak jungle right now.
I mean, there's enough junglers that are viable too.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Like, and Chak isn't predominantly known as a
Thor
jungler.
was still on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was there. It's very clearly a focus from Trifecta to get that god in particular. I just don't know that is what ended up fitting what they needed the best.
I think the team of eUnited this year have looked better and better as time's gone on. From my point of view, a lot of that rests on PBM's shoulders, not for his play, more for what he's bringing to the team in terms of unity. He's unifying this team. You can see it on Twitter. He is a memer, but at the same time, it's just calming this team down more than anything else and synergizing them together, finding that balance that felt like it's always been needed for some of those players.
Or hyping him up. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, I know FDOT always calls him the player coach sort of mentality for eUnited, but I completely agree. And it's no coincidence to me that PBM joins the team and all of a sudden Scream starts to look like one of the best junglers in the world. And Scream always had that potential. He always had the mechanics. He always had the playmaking potential. It was just the under pressure sometimes, and sometimes the decision making started to wane a little bit. Having that guy on your team to kind of calm you down, keep you in the right mindset outside of game and in game is very important.
So at the moment, you can see a bit of a technical difficulty, but at the looks of it for Sinosure here, should be taken care of momentarily. We'll give you an update as soon as we have one on this, but 2-0 so far. Game 3 was a better story for Trifecta in the early game, but it's still going the same sort of direction. Obviously, Fire Giant just going the way of eUnited 2 means the next goal for you is probably going to go their way, and a couple of towers too. You're looking at around a 5k gold lead after that.
Yeah, it's looking bad for Trifecta right now. The guy who needs to turn it around if they're gonna make the plays is Snoopy and it's Hurrywin. Those are the guys who are going to be doing the majority of the player damage right now. Kiki needs to be setting up for Hurry and for Snoopy as often as possible with those Athena taunts, because that has been a big catalyst potentially for Trifecta, but we haven't really seen a full 5-on-5 engagement quite yet. This team composition for Trifecta wants to fight in the 5-on-5s, but eUnited has done a great job of making sure they don't put themselves in that position. Only whenever they already have found a pick or already have found the objective will they take those engagements.
There's signs in the eUnited's composition as well. The way they play these team fights out, there is members of this team that will dance back in with low health.
Yes.
And that's a sign of a team that are really all on the same wavelength too. It's very risky to be on 10% health and then look to come in with your CC. Because when that goes wrong, those fights completely turn. We saw that man on your screen there, Venenu, momentarily. Like, he was one coming in on that Morrigan with such low health, looking to set up for further kills, which resulted in eUnited getting the lead they have now.
Yeah, exactly. And it just narrowly missing getting silenced out by Aurora, and that would have turned the whole thing. But you're right. eUnited is playing with a ton of confidence, and who can blame them? I mean, they've looked great through the first 2 games of this set. They've looked great through the second half of this game 3, and they didn't fall enough behind to really be too worried about how poorly the beginning of this game 3 went. It wasn't even that bad. I mean, it was Trifecta up maybe 2,000, 3,000 gold at most. This was a pretty a well-controlled descent from eUnited in the early game. That's where you expect to lose it whenever you get a 4-man rotation to the solo lane very early on, and Benji ends up taking 2 spills early. So what does Benji do? Where in the games 1 and 2, he was rotating a lot. He was being the first one to the mid lane to start off the engagements for eUnited or finish off the engagements for eUnited either way. Now he's just sitting in lane. It's Kiki who's the one rotating with that ultimate, and it's Benji sitting in lane, getting that extra farm, knocking down that tower, and all of a sudden, it's Benji who's in the lead again.
And all that you can think of from eUnited's point of view as we look at the bananas for sustenance in the background there. Keeps these monkeys going for a minute or 2 longer anyway, that's for sure. The one thing about this, though, is that eUnited and every team here have been focusing the entire year of Super Regionals.
Yes.
Get to this exact moment, this game, this deciding game that can get you to Worlds, and it's on day 1. Worst case scenario, you lose this, like Trifecta are more than likely looking that way. You have to then play on Friday and Saturday through another 5 different teams to try and skip their way through. Whereas eUnited just have to wait till Sunday now.
And those are only 1 game against those 5 teams that you would meet in the group stages. You only get 1 shot. Yeah, and while that might honestly favor a team like Trifecta, who like to play a little bit more weird style, some picks that other teams might not be ready for, that could favor a team like that. It still puts you in a position where you lose 1 game where you shouldn't to some, 1 botched engagement in the early game, and all of a sudden you're really behind the 8 ball when it comes to qualifying for HRX.
Well, look at what eUnited did in game 2 of this set so far. I mean, you saw how quickly they got a lead, grabbed it, and it really crushed the hopes of Trifecta in game 2. That could happen in the best of 1, and then you're already staring, another game into defeat once more.
Yeah, it's tough stuff. So you got to make sure you're making the most of your semifinal opportunities. That's why these teams work so hard during the regular season, is to make sure you finish in that top 4, to get yourself in a best of 5 scenario where you only need to win 3 games in order to punch your ticket for Worlds. And Trifecta, certainly with their backs against the wall, trying to make the comeback against eUnited.
Not the only LAN you'll see this year. If you do check out the Smite Console League, that'll be starting next Friday, as you saw at the bottom of your screen. And we'll see which console teams manage to make it to Harris Expo as well. So 2 weeks back-to-back of Smite LANs. This is just the first endeavor. It's going to be a long couple of weeks.
It's the best time of year, Hindu Man. Well, that and HRX, of course. But
No, technically that's next year.
Right. Oh, yeah,
so
I guess
this is
you're
the
right.
best time of year.
Well, no, because that would be last year's Worlds would be the best time of this year.
It's the best start of the year.
Best start of the year. Yeah, this is the best end of the year, at least for the Smite competitive season.
For some of them.
Exactly.
And then other ones of it, it's like this is the most commiserating time because you've got nothing else to look forward to until Season 5.
It's usually all the way until spring. You don't want to have a competitive break all the way from November until, the beginning of the spring split. It's always a long wait for those players who are disappointed with how it's gone at Super Regionals.
Now, Harris Expo tickets are still on sale right now as well. There's not many left. You did see Stu tweet about them. He's basically saying we are on our final few tickets remaining. HarrisExpo.com, there is a code, I believe, for Super Regionals, which gives you a 25%. I didn't get 25. I can only get 15.
Yeah, we only get 15.
Why did they get that for Super Regionals? I would have sold so many more tickets.
Yeah, okay. Okay. The only reason you sell any tickets with your code is because you lie to people and say that they're going to get something special for using your code.
They will. If they prove
won't.
to me that they use my code, that I'll give them some special at Worlds.
I don't know. I know you won't.
I've not decided what it was. I've not decided what it was whatsoever. But
it's going to be something horrible.
Why would it be horrible?
Or it's going to be like a firm handshake.
I'll let you all punch aggro in the face. How's that?
You don't get to decide that.
I mean, I do.
No, you don't.
I mean, I'm never saying they're not going to get in trouble for it, but I'm saying you can.
Okay.
So here's a couple of replays from one of the early games. This was game 2 between eUnited and Trifecta, and this was a sort of lead that was causing them problems. I think Benji sticking to Hurrywind in this game, and we've just seen in the game we're in right now as well, this is the same sort of situation. He's being unchecked. No one's peeling.
I mean, you can't really peel Hercules, who's level 18, and you're level 14 as a mid laner, level 15 as your own solo laner. This is, if you're just joining us, Hercules got banned in this game 3, and this highlight reel is why.
Yep, Earthbreaker after Earthbreaker after Earthbreaker, and then throw out a boulder for good measure as well, just to secure the kill. There's another one. And it's prime targets every time as well. Obviously, he's going to force beads. If you do manage to get hit by that Earthbreaker, you're going to force the beads on landing to make sure you don't get hit by the driving strike. And then we get to see Panda Cat solo Snoopy. Well, Benji's like, I'm going to go old giggle.
That's eUnited. I mean, they're not a team who's afraid to spam the VELs, the VETs, letting people know that they feel like they are the best team in North America right now. And after this performance, it's tough to argue them.
There's reasons why Rafa, if you remember the All-Stars that we did this year, why Rafa drafted Benji. There's a real reason for it.
And
Benji
Panda Cat
causes a lot of problems. I mean, that's respect as well. It's not just because the camaraderie between anyone, it's actually down to skill.
And Snoopy's had a lot of skill so far in this game with the ricochet. Is that one on the polar bear?
He said skill as he does a ricochet off the wall.
That's all right. Hey, it was me saying that it wasn't as much skill earlier, and you defending him, and now it's the tables have turned.
That's always the job. And with this as well, now eUnited, this is just a camaraderie of the whole team showing what they've had to do today. And there they all are on your screen to have a look. Those new jerseys for the eUnited crew.
I love PBM's pose. Just like it's such a PBM way to stand.
It's a caster pose.
No. That's
so many casters do that.
No,
okay.
You shouldn't.
No, I know they shouldn't, but they do.
No, that's the bad one.
They say not smirk on the left hand.
Unless your name's Anatoly.
Why do they have Benji at the same time as Virizil or Scream on that left hand side? Both of those cheeky little smirks. Like,
I mean, have you seen how well they've played? And I think they've earned some cheeky smirks with their regular season performance, and now here today.
Now, winner of this set is a best of 5. Just go through one more time. Winner of this set will have to face off against the winner of LG versus Space Station. That set, Space Station versus LG, will be after patch notes today. Patch notes scheduled for around 3 o'clock or just after, but definitely 3 at the earliest. And then following that will be the caster. But the winner of LG versus Space Station, how are you feeling about that one?
Man, that's going to be a great set. All the sets at Super Regionals are going to be great sets. I mean, you don't get here without being a top team in your region. For me, I think that Luminosity has the edge. They looked like the better team during the regular season. And Space Station really did start to turn it up towards the end of the split. They started off a little bit rusty with...
Cameraman! Pick someone. You couldn't decide who he was going to.
There's so many different stars on the stage that they couldn't decide. Look, Space Station with the addition of Zapman and Scary D at the beginning of the split didn't look particularly solid, but it just took a little bit of time. Those two side lanes have kind of started to assimilate, and everyone on Space Station is working on a higher level. I think we're in for a long set at the end of today. I truly think that those two teams, and it's such a classic matchup, right? Bera versus Zap at LAN. Oh, yeah. These are two classic North American teams that just play super aggressive and try and beat you down, and not that EU methodical sort of style. This is a classic NA Super Regionals matchup.
Bera versus Zap. And the funny thing is, I wasn't going to do any stats, but I'm going to do this one because this is one of my favorite ones. Barracuda win rate at LAN is 60.56%. Zapman's win rate at LAN is 58.49. There is a 1.5% difference between how many wins these two have at LAN.
They win a lot. Both these dudes win a lot, and that's no surprise to me because they're two of the best players. Wow, that is the creative angle to get to the eUnited bananas.
I mean, potassium's important though. That's the big key.
I'm not a big fan of bananas.
You know?
No, I don't like a lot of foods though. No,
I do love it. Nothing more to add to that. I don't know why I went to food. I guess we're just sorry for some more time. We're still waiting to hear word of what the pause is about. Obviously, they're trying to take care of it as quick as possible. As soon as we know, we'll let you know. Hopefully, it shouldn't be a couple more minutes. I apologize for that. Overall, a few technical difficulties on the first day. It happens now and again, unfortunately. But these players, it's so important that, we will take extra time to make sure that everything's good to go because we don't want anything to cause more problems.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, this is a lot of times when we're talking about these longer pauses for teams that are losing, we talk about how it's a good opportunity to try and reset your mind and get back into the game, refocus. But for me, whenever I was playing, when we had long pauses like this, when we were down in a set and we were losing badly already, it's almost tough to stay focused during that time because it's like, well, not only do we have to come back in this game, but we've got 2 more. Sort of the mountain that you still have to climb to kind of loom above you. And so it's up to Trifecta to try and stay focused in at what they can do right now because they're out of options. They got to win here.
If I was in that situation with Trifecta right now, I'm okay with that pause time because I get to actually go, listen, guys, we have no other option apart from to win this game. We have to find a way back in, and we realize we're against the 5 giant. We've got the Gold Fury coming up soon after. We knew we were going to lose towers too, but we need to find some sort of window to get back into this. Where will the focal point be? I'm guessing it's full focus on Panda Cat. That's the danger man for me, because it's the tower destroyer as well.
Yep.
But trying to get to him is the hard part, especially with the comp that you've drafted here. It's going to be up to Kiki with these taunts, I feel, on defense.
This is 2.5 games in a row
Round
where
the
it's
back.
been Panda Cat with top damage. Benji's here. Herwin putting good damage up, but a big toss there by PBM creates some space.
And meanwhile, Panda Cat just shredding down the tier 2 tower. One member will die, and that will be Kiki. Venenu straight to the front line, looking to poke out Snoopy just a little bit more, and uses the shield before his ultimate will end, and that's going to allow them to get the Phoenix in mid lane as well. This could be over real quick.
I mean, Panda Cat, again, just so safe in the middle of these team fights. Who's going to be able to get to him whenever you've got Polar Bear Mike diving into the back line very quickly, whenever you've got Benji coming around the backside and just making it very difficult? Herwin's got to use that ultimate defensively right off the bat.
I want to apologize again for the technical issues that we're having at the moment. Could another pause coming through here. Obviously, Trifecta losing this Phoenix here. That was a big team fight for them. Kiki going down very quick. And there was, well, to be fair, his engage was pretty solid, but the wraparound was the key from Benji, just going around the back, as well as the dive in from PBM.
And it's Herwin up in those Tycho drums, trying to just stay alive, trying to hold those purification beads and use those to get away underneath that Phoenix, and also potentially try and turn that fight around. But with how deep everyone else from eUnited was able to get into there, I mean, Scream is playing that Nike. He's not afraid to jump into that enemy backline. Venenu can transform into that Nike and do the same thing. And it's just so much space being created all for that man, Panda Cat, and he's been able to really take advantage of it.
And that's what I was saying after the last pause, like a little bit of a downside for Trifecta to think about how they can try and hold on to this one. But, well, after that very short time we just had there, Phoenix already down in mid means the game's switching even worse of a situation. And eUnited, Panda Cat having a good old time. I mean, up 2 games, third one's looking quite good right now. We have seen comebacks. We never want to count a team out. But at the same time, the way eUnited is playing, I don't think they're going to let up the gas.
Yeah, I mean, unless someone can really figure out how to get past this front line for eUnited and get into the back line and find Panda Cat, who really should be alone with how far forward everyone else from eUnited is pushing. Problem is, you don't have, you want someone who can get into the back line and insta-kill it, insta-kill that Hunter very quickly. Chuck is not that guy. He just never will be that guy. And
Kiki's not that guy either. Really.
Kiki's playing Athena. He's not going to be able to one-shot Panda Cat either. And that, again, it comes down to the draft.
Send Ho-Yi.
Maybe he just like throws off a triple bounce ricochet and Raiju bounces to him at the same time. That's like the best option here, basically, for Trifecta.
It does feel like Trifecta drafted a sort of peel composition, but I'm not seeing enough peel is the biggest problem with this comp. It's very good at being able to weather the storm and peel for each other and keep each other from danger, but the amount of dive that eUnited are doing means that that's not happening anymore.
Well, these two compositions are fairly similar, and you've got warrior jungles who want to just get into the back line and just stay there and say, deal with me, and then you don't want them to be able to. But whenever two similar compositions end up facing off, the one that gets the initial big lead, not the small lead that Trifecta was able to get to, but the bigger lead that eUnited was able to seize away, then when you've got two compositions that do the same thing, and then you give one the tools to do it, and the other doesn't have those, the gold, the experience, the items, then it's going to be pretty obvious which one looks better. In this composition, eUnited looks better because they're the ones who got the tools to execute properly.
Well, a lot of people said eUnited should win this set. I don't think anybody would have expected it as clean. I kind of had it as a 3-1 eUnited coming into today. I was like, I'm feeling it's going to be eUnited with their performance so far, but I'm not going to count Trifecta out based off the fact of their performances at Valencia. Yeah. And technically their changes in roster with Ionic moving away for Aurora to step in. I expected that would work out well, and their online performance, they've struggled a little bit this year, but they're still here. They're still in the top 4.
It's true, and just don't have just haven't had it so far today. I mean, Snoopy's had it in game 3, but all of Trifecta just seems to be not only not performing to their best, but on different pages as well. Aurora seems to be on a different page than the rest of Trifecta at times. The synergy, you're right, just doesn't seem to be there for Trifecta so far in this set. Now, the good news is it's not like they came all the way here for one best of 5 and they're going home. They've still got Friday and Saturday to play if they do end up losing this set, but they've got to come to it quickly because, like we've talked about a lot, that's a bunch of best-of-1 games, and you can't afford to drop a game where you get a lead or drop a game where you feel like you won the picks and bans pretty heavily. Every single point in those best-of-1s is going to count.
Well, this time of year, you'll see all the teams start to qualify for Hi-Rez Expo. Australia locked in one of their teams, Southeast Asia as well. Brazil is happening next weekend for their team to be locked in. And following that, Latin America will have theirs the week after. So most of the teams will have results for even the next 2 or 3 weeks.
And it's all in the name of getting ready for HRX, which is just the best. If you haven't had a chance to come down to Atlanta and join us for it.
No, he's on Eager.
It's... No, he's not on any
I can't make that joke anymore.
No,
That's
you
so
can't.
depressing.
No, he can't. But maybe he'll be there. Who knows?
Maybe he will. Maybe he will. Maybe
He could use SPL 25 to get 25% off on his tickets.
He could well do so. That could work out pretty well as well. So with that, I'm after shouting at me then trying to sell his ticket code, but that's not going to work.
FDOT even has a ticket code? We gave him one of those? That's nice of us.
He stole it. From what I understand, he stole the system and then put Long Island 15 in there.
Yeah, he would.
Don't know why he put Long Island 15.
What a great joke.
I don't know. I wish I knew there was a player from Long Island. I don't know any. That's
No,
really
I don't think so. I mean, New York is just not a very talented area in general when it comes to Smite or anything really.
Nope.
It's kind of desolate.
How many
honestly.
world champions are from Long Island?
Now, if we start talking about New Jersey, that's where we start talking about the thriving economy and everything's great in New Jersey compared to New York for sure.
Don't know where that is.
It's right next. New Yorkers hate it when you talk about New Jersey.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, that's the joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
It's
guess.
a little bit of just a little American joke lesson for you.
I thought it was somewhere like Ohio or Utah or something is where everybody doesn't want to come from.
I mean, those places are all right.
Oh, okay. It's not so bad. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
The poll's still going on, guys. I do apologize once again for the technical issues during this set today. We are trying to get them taken care of. There is still patch notes to come at 3 o'clock today as well. Following that, the caster will reveal whether Ron Jobber or La Tigress will actually win that $10,000 prize and be appearing in some form at Hi-Rez Expo. We'll see which one wins that.
It's been a lot of fun to watch the caster.
Yeah, you were
as it
involved
went.
too, weren't you?
Yeah, I
forgot
get to
about
do the caster off air. It's
Yeah.
been fun.
It felt like forever ago.
I know. I can't believe it.
It
I can't
was.
believe we're already here at Super Regionals. I mean, we've been waiting so long for Supers for the competition and for the winner of the caster to be revealed, and it just felt like the caster happened so quickly. All those episodes, so many great moments.
So many great moments indeed. And so many great moments in this set so far, outside of the pauses, which are also great moments, maybe Kappa. 2-0 to eUnited. Game 3 looking solid for them too. And that will put them into a very good position for Sunday to take on either LG or Space Station. If we're going to see either Space Station or LG against eUnited, from what I can see so far, I think eUnited's looking good for the #1 seed.
I'll tell you what, I mean, they looked like the best team in North America during the online phase, and their only loss all split was to Luminosity with that split in the final week of the regular season play. Luminosity ended up looking really, really good against the United 2. And keep in mind, those two teams are scrim partners. They play basically exclusively each other for their practice. So you know if it does end up being Luminosity up against the United, there's going to be two teams that are very familiar with each other, very familiar with the picks, the bans, how they like to play the map in certain situations. And those games with scrim partners, when they end up playing each other at LAN, are always pretty interesting.
Just been told less than 60 seconds. Get your timers going. We'll be timing as well as this goes on. Can you watch out?
It's out. It's always, what do you mean? Like, do I have
It's
to...
got no seconds, has it?
No,
Oh, look at that. That was quicker than 60 seconds. Oh, my goodness. Well, Middle Phoenix is down. eUnited going to head straight over to the left-hand Phoenix and look to continue the pressure. And in goes Cynosure.
He's got that Blink ultimate available. Pokes down Panda Cat to about half HP, but then all of United say thanks for delivering another kill for us.
Ooh.
Panda gets a roar. Cyno might be able to escape, at
He's
least for
running
the moment.
way. You're running the wrong way. You're running the wrong way. That's the right way. Benji going to make sure he gives him a quick trip back. The easier option, but it looks like eUnited looking to pile down and end it already. I don't think they can.
I don't think they, maybe, I mean, they're going to have minions in mid pretty soon here.
It's
Benji
risky.
going to tank
Oh,
it
they're
up.
gonna
3
do it.
members here. They're going
This is
for
over.
it. They've got a bunch of members here. Titan Golf goes pretty low. Kiki will find Panda Cat, and PBM very, very low as well. I don't know if they're going to